Fly direct to Washington, D.C. from Augusta Regional Airport. The Live Viper 6 Skyview Network, sponsored by Terry Lambert Hyundai.
We have typical summertime weather today and over the next few days. That means it's going to be hot and humid, along with late day storm chances. I'll have all the details coming up.
Right now on News Channel 6 at 4, more reports of people shooting fireworks at each other in downtown Augusta. We'll have an update.
Plus, a new way to reach emergency services in Aiken.
And pushback against the proposal to rename the Riverwalk after one former mayor instead of two. Your News at 4 starts now.
Live from Television Park, this is WJBF News Channel 6 at 4.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Brad Means.
And I'm Jenny Montgomery. Thank you so much for joining us. Coverage you can count on continues now with an investigation into claims that Independence Day week celebrations may be getting out of hand downtown. Last night, for a second straight night, viewers posted messages and videos which they say shows people shooting fireworks at each other, bystanders, and even into businesses.
And News Channel 6's Bria Smith continues to follow this story. She is live on Broad Street. Bria.
Yes, that's right. Well, no injuries have been reported, but people are concerned after a second night of what they describe as fireworks disturbances downtown. Witnesses tell me it is all started after the city's fireworks show on Tuesday night. They say teenagers started shooting fireworks at each other and nearby vehicles. We were then sent another video by a viewer who says a similar situation occurred last night. I've spoken with downtown business owners and others who live in the area. They tell me they are waiting for something to be done about it.
Like seeing them in the air, oh, beautiful, yeah, great. I saw one right in front of my car, like from here to like, I don't know, 20 feet away, if even. Nah, that's too close. That'll blow up somebody's body part, man.
I've reached out to law enforcement and city leaders for their response. For now, reporting live in downtown, Bria Smith, WJBF, News Channel 6.
All right, Bria, thank you for that report. People in Aiken now have an additional lifeline to reach 911 in emergencies. Aiken Bureau Chief Sean Cabbage-Talk has the details.
A lot more people are becoming more comfortable with texting, so it's just another available option for people to reach out for emergency services.
With the text to 911 system, you'll be able to text 911 dispatchers if you're not able to make a call.
So it comes in sort of similarly for the dispatcher, just the way the phone call does on the computer screen for them, and they would receive that message and they would text back just like a traditional text message.
The feature can be useful in situations where making a phone call is not possible or would raise suspicions, like during a burglary or an assault.
It comes to the same place and is answered by the dispatch center in the same way a phone call would be.
If you accidentally send a text to 911, just make sure you send a reply indicating it was a mistake.
They would contact the person to make sure everything was okay, and if that's the case, then there would be no harm, no foul, so to speak.
If you don't receive a text response from 911, contact authorities another way. The feature is available across Aiken County.
You can still be charged with unlawful use of 911 if you are making prank or inappropriate texts on 911, just like the same thing with prank or inappropriate phone calls.
In Aiken, I'm Aiken Bureau Chief Sean Cabbage-Talk, WJBF News Channel 6.
Time now for a first check of the weather and another scorcher out there today.
Meteorologist Jenna Petracci standing by. It's downright uncomfortable out there.
That's right, and not a lot of heat relief when it comes to the rain today. In fact, we're only seeing one spotty shower over in Washington County. The rest of the CSRA, nice and dry. But here's a closer look there, right around the Sandersville areas where we're seeing a brief heavy downpour. No lightning within this cell, though, and we have no threat of severe weather the rest of this evening. Just around a 10 to 20% chance that you may see a quick downpour when headed out and about. But here's a look at our Terry Lambert Hyundai Skyview cam outside the station. We do have some puffy cumulus clouds outside today. The clouds have helped keep us a little bit cooler, but definitely still hot. We're in the low 90s, 92 in Augusta, 93 in Allendale. But compared to where we've been at over the last few days, we'll take these temperatures. Overall, very typical summer-like heat here. Wrightsville at 92 as well, 90 in Crawfordville, only 86 in Edgefield. Now, our dew points are in the low 70s for the most part, definitely still high, but but still not as high as they have been. So notice on the heat index map, we're only seeing Louisville at 102. The rest of the CSRA in the 90s, feeling like 99 in Augusta, so at least 1 degree shy from that triple digit mark. Satellite and radar showing more scattered showers and thunderstorms out to the west of us. Those will make their way into the CSRA later on this evening, but overall, a lot of those will fall apart and weaken before they make it here. We do have some dry air over our area, but the stationary front can still produce a couple of storms around, and that high pressure down in the Gulf of Mexico has been keeping the heat over the last few days, and we'll continue to see hot conditions into the weekend as well. But for the rest of this evening, 91 at 6 p.m., just a slim chance that we'll have a shower or storm, upper 80s by 7 and 8 o'clock tonight. So typical summertime weather through the weekend. That means hot and humid in the afternoon, a mix of sun and clouds with those spotty late day storms. Coming up, we'll have a look at your 10-day forecast, so stay with us, but back to you.
All right, Jenna, thank you. A new law in Georgia took effect this week to help protect your children when they take swim lessons. Hannah Latier reports that it was inspired by a local family.
Thank you, Brad. Izzy's law is named for Israel Scott, who drowned while taking swimming lessons last summer. As a result, swim instructors and parents in Georgia are having to be more cautious when it comes to letting their kids get near the water. The new law states that the Department of Public Health has to come up with aquatic safety guidelines by January 1st, 2024. By April 1st, 2024, every swim instructor in the state needs to have a safety plan in place before giving swimming lessons to anyone. In the meantime, swim instructors we spoke to say there should be no more than 4 children per instructor, never to turn your back on the swim class, and to keep an eye on your own child. And Izzy's family is just appreciative that his legacy can be used to protect other children.
Now, instead of Izzy's life being in vain, or we feeling like it was in vain, I believe it would help save a lot of children. It'll give a lot of parents more confidence, because after Izzy's drowning, a lot of parents, from what I heard, was kind of afraid to send their children to swim lessons.
I'll have more details on what Izzy's law means for you and your children at WJBF.com. Brad?
Hannah, thank you. Augusta City leaders, meanwhile, getting some view posted. By the way, you saw Rick Toole there, Devaney's cousin. He said Devaney always called Riverwalk his crowning achievement as mayor. A new restaurant in Columbia County is a real tribute to local veterans. It's Rally Point Grill, and they officially opened June 28th in Evans. Built by veterans with a focus on serving other vets, the inside of the restaurant is filled with memorabilia donated by the community. The menu filled with delicious items named with familiar military terms and references. We talked to the owners, Kelly and Tiffany O'Neill, and they say making their diners feel at home is just their ministry.
We got a lot of folks coming in and checking out the vibe that we have in here, and they've been really supportive and enthusiastic about it. A lot of folks have been telling us our food is really good. Of course, every restaurateur likes to hear that. And of course, I might be a little biased, but I think our menu's pretty good too.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. Rally Point Grill open Wednesday through Sunday. Be sure to watch News Channel 6 at 7 tonight for more information about the restaurant and the work they're doing with our local veteran community.
The area around the former Aiken Mall continues to see new development. Graham Lee reports on one new business that could be open in the next few weeks.
City leaders tell me the first Olive Garden to open in the All-America city could be ready to serve you later this year. The Golden Corral is gone, and for the last several months, workers have been working to get Aiken's first Olive Garden on the ground. City Manager Stuart Biedenbow says this has been on the wish list for residents for a long time, and is excited to see this request finally being granted.
Our public has been very interested in seeing an Olive Garden locate here for 20 years, so we're glad that the franchise saw fit to have a foothold in our marketplace.
Officials couldn't give me an exact date, but those involved with construction say you could be making reservations by late August or early September. In Aiken, Graham Lee, WJBF, News Channel 6.
A new business in North Augusta has been getting a lot of attention. Today was the grand opening of the Splatter Place. You can create splatter art while throwing paint in a safe environment. The owners are thankful for the community being so welcoming ahead of the launch.
It has been insane and very welcoming. When we moved here 7 years ago, the first thing that people said was, there's nothing to do around here. And especially with kids, there's nothing to do around here. And we're like, well, there is nothing like this in the CSRA.
The Splatter Place is officially open for business, and for more info about them, just go to our website, WJBF.com. Our Stuff the Bus school supply drive is underway. It runs through July 29th. You can drop off school items here at Television Park during business hours or at any Security Federal Bank in the CSRA. All supplies will be donated to local schools. For more information, just go to WJBF.com/stuffthebus. Millions of Americans suffer from tinnitus.
Coming up next, the promising new drug offering help for ringing ears. You're going to want to stick around and see this as News Channel 6 at 4 continues. 5 years, maybe more, until the drug is formally approved and available to everybody.
Another scorching day across the CSRA.
Sure was, and as always, the chance of a shower or storm can't be ruled out. Jenna is up next with the forecast.
I'm attorney Jamie. $2.99 strawberry shortcake snowball slush float. Sonic.
Now, your most accurate forecast with WJBF Live Viper 6.
Good Thursday afternoon. It's been a dry day. We started out with foggy conditions this morning, then just partly cloudy skies with some cumulus clouds. And now we're starting to see some showers pop up, only in Washington County, though, and more scattered showers and storms to the west of us. A few of those will make their way into the CSRA later on this evening, but right now, definitely not a lot of rain. These are just some brief, heavy downpours around the Sandersville area, getting close to Jefferson County now. But overall in Augusta, just the clouds we're dealing with. Our Terry Lambert Hyundai Skyview cam looking like it could rain at any moment, but we'll stay pretty much rain-free across the metro, other than some brief showers later on this evening. We're at 92 degrees, actually a couple degrees below average, feeling like 99, which we'll take it. At least we're not at that triple-digit mark here in town. 71 degrees as our dew point, and winds are light. We're seeing mostly low 90s now, with the exception of Edgefield at 88, 91 in Sparta, 92 in Wrightsville, and 95 down in Swainsboro. Much hotter down there, and the heat index is reflecting that as well. Feeling like 104, 102 in Louisville, but if those showers make it into Jefferson County, it will cool down just a tad. Feeling like 97 in Aiken. For satellite and radar, other than that one spotty shower, really not a lot going on. South Carolina mostly dry now. The rain is due to this trough, but overall it's pretty weak. And we also have some drier air across the CSRA and into the Midlands and much of South Carolina. So that's helping to limit our rain chances for today. Now, as we go into Friday, we will see an increase in moisture, so we'll have a better chance of rain. And we also still have this high pressure down in the Gulf of Mexico, which is going to continue to keep the heat around at least through Sunday. So we're going to be a bit warmer tomorrow at 95, feeling like 105 for both your Friday and Saturday. On Monday, it actually looks like we'll get a little bit of relief, but that's strictly because of the rain, and we'll get into that in a moment. If you're headed to SRP Park tonight, we're going to be in the upper 80s. Notice on satellite and radar, we could have some spotty showers coming through, but it definitely won't be a washout. 80 degrees by 10 p.m. And for your Friday, starting out in the mid-70s, climbing to the mid-80s or 90s by 3 p.m. with that chance of rain. So we'll continue to see this trough stall out across the area, keeping those rain chances in the forecast Friday and for your Saturday. We're also watching another cold front out towards the west, and that'll bring us a better chance of rain late Sunday into Monday. Closer look at home, though. Notice some showers mostly to the west of Augusta tonight. Only a 20% chance of rain, and then partly cloudy the rest of tonight with lows in the low 70s, continued muggy conditions, and hot and humid tomorrow, 95 in Augusta. And your 10-day forecast showing the heat at least until Monday. Then we have a 60% chance of rain. It will be very cloudy as well. So going with 89 as our temperature on Monday, and then heating up again the rest of next week. And we'll be right back.
The Live Viper 6 Skyview Network, sponsored by Terry Lambert Hyundai.
We have typical summertime weather today and over the next few days. That means it's definitely hot, also very humid, and we have late day storms in the forecast. I'll have all the details coming up. We have typical summertime weather today and over the next few days. That means it's definitely hot, also very humid, and we have late day storms in the forecast. I'll have all the details coming up.
Biden makes a stop in South Carolina, announcing a new partnership and other economic investments. Plus,
is it true if you dress up, you don't act up? I'm May Cavill, Charlotte Douglas International Airport. Coming up, should there be a dress code for passengers?
also the USPS rolling out a sticker program in cities across the nation. We'll explain why. Your news at 4:30 starts now.
Live from Television Park, this is WJBF News Channel 6 at 4:30.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dee Griffin. We began with President Joe Biden in South Carolina today. He stopped in West Columbia to talk about his economic agenda and highlight a clean energy investment. Jason Raven was there and has more on what the president had to say.
President Biden spoke here at Flex in West Columbia, touting a manufacturing partnership between this company and In-Phase Energy. Now, officials say this will result in 600 new jobs here in South Carolina. The president saying this investment made possible through legislation he signed into law since he took office. Well, this was President Joe Biden's first visit to South Carolina since announcing his re-election campaign. Now, the president talked about his economic plan and vision. He's calling it Bidenomics. He says legislation like the Inflation Reduction Act and the bipartisan infrastructure law are helping fuel manufacturing and clean energy growth in the country. Nearly all of those measures were not supported by most of South Carolina's Republican members of Congress. Biden said, despite the opposition, all states are seeing benefits from this economic agenda.
When I ran, when I got elected, when I proposed these pieces of legislation, I made a commitment that I'd be present for all Americans, whether their elected officials voted for the events or not. All Americans. Wherever you voted for me or not. And I've kept my promise.
The South Carolina's Democratic primary is scheduled for February 3rd, 2024. And President Biden won the primary in 2020, which led to his eventual nomination. In West Columbia, I'm Jason Raven.
Federal prosecutors are blaming former President Trump for posting what he claimed was former President Obama's residential address on his Truth Social account. The same day it was posted, a man with guns in a van was arrested near the property. Authorities say 37-year-old Taylor Toronto, who participated in the January 6th riots, kept 2 firearms and hundreds of rounds of ammunition inside a van he lives in and had driven cross-country. Following the post on social media, Toronto was spotted by law enforcement a few blocks from the former president's home. Well, Donald Trump's personal aide was in court in Florida today for his arraignment in the classified documents case. Walt Nato pled not guilty to the same 38 charges that the former president pleaded not guilty to last month. Federal prosecutors say Mr. Trump had Nato move boxes of classified documents so his attorney would not return them to the White House. The former president says he did nothing wrong. Well, I think we can find something wrong with this humidity. Wow, it was so humid out there, and I'm hoping a cool down is on the way, possibly. Meteorologist Jenna Petracci joins us now. Jenna.
That's right, Dee, and it's hard to believe, but we're actually only at a heat index of 99, which of course is still very hot. But we've dealt with the triple digits over the last several days, so in a way you could say it's a cool down, but nonetheless still very typical summertime heat and not a lot of relief when it comes to the rain. Notice on Live Viper 6 now we're only seeing 1 spotty shower, and that's down in Washington County. The rest of the CSRA is still very dry, but there's a closer look at Washington County. Just to the east of Sandersville, there's some heavy rain. No lightning, though, in this area. Down to Tanner, Riddleville, and even into parts of Jefferson County. That's where we're seeing the rain right now. On our Terry Lambert Hyundai Skyview cam over in Aiken, it's a partly cloudy day. We've had a mix of sun and clouds throughout the entire day. We even started out with some fog this morning. That helped to limit our temperatures today, only climbing into those low 90s. Louisville, though, a little bit hotter at 95. Augusta at 92. 93 now in Allendale, 92 in Millen. Wrightsville at 94. And only 87 in Edgefield, our coolest spot. Dew points are still in the low 70s, right around 70 to 72 degrees. This is a little bit lower than how they have been, so in return, we have a slightly lower heat index. As I mentioned, 99 in Augusta, 97 in Aiken, but we are seeing those triple-digit values from Thompson up to McCormick and even down to Louisville, where it's feeling like 106. 102 in Wrightsville and Swainsboro. For satellite and radar, other than that one shower and a few clouds, we're not seeing much activity. South Carolina mostly dry and scattered showers and storms. In the northwestern portion of Georgia, all along this trough, that's going to produce some storms later on this evening, but overall our rain chances are pretty slim. 92 degrees still at 5 p.m., keeping that chance of rain in the forecast through 8 o'clock tonight, and at that point we'll be in the upper 80s. So typical summertime weather today and over the weekend. Hot and humid afternoons. We'll have a mix of sun and clouds and those spotty late day storms, with the rain chances going up a bit starting tomorrow. Coming up, I'll have a look at your 10-day forecast and everything you can expect, but back to you, Dee.
All right, thanks so much. We'll see you again in a few minutes. The Biden administration unveiled a plan to help end CARE program. Well, the United States Postal Service is rolling out a sticker program in cities across the country. North Carolina ranks number 10 in the country for dog attacks on postal workers. Those who live in the Tar Heel State and other cities will get a sticker with a paw print on it to put on their mailbox. That way, when a carrier comes to deliver, they'll know you have a dog and can take steps to prevent an attack.
We all love our dogs. We love our animals, but we as citizens have to take responsibility to protect the carrier and the people around us as well from our animals.
20 North Carolina cities offer the stickers to put on your mailbox. More than 117,000 households are participating statewide. Hopefully it'll move here. Well, before you board a flight, have you ever thought about what you're wearing? Well, believe it or not, there are dress code policies for airlines. Who knew? McKay Beeler has that story.
When you fly, does any thought go into deciding what to wear before you board a flight?
I like to be sexy.
I say comfy clothes, nothing super provocative.
A new report by the International Air Transport Association reveals unruly passenger incidents rose worldwide by 37% in 2022 from previous years. Is it a coincidence that this bad behavior seems to go hand in glove with bad taste in airline apparel?
I think if you're dressed appropriately, you're probably going to act more appropriately.
Is it time for a dress code for airline passengers?
I think that they need to make sure they're covered.
It should be a dress code because everybody don't come in here like regular. Some people come in here with everything just hanging. Some people come in here covered up like a nun.
Does anybody remember a time when passengers would actually dress up to fly? All right, I'm going to age myself here. When I was a girl flying out of Washington National Airport, my mother would wear a dress suit and pearls. I would have to wear a skirt and a blouse and shoes. Yes, dress shoes. No flip-flops, no sneakers. What do you think about people who dress today?
Well, I just think the whole world has gotten so casual, so you can't blame people, really.
According to author Christopher Elliott of Elliott Confidential, a travel industry journal, there is compelling research linking behavior and attire. His research reveals that well-dressed people never seem to cause drama on flights. Pilots report that troublemakers are the ones that look like they just rolled out of bed.
I'm taking over this plane.
Most passengers don't read the fine print, but airliners do have guidelines, albeit vague, in their conditions of carriage that require passengers to behave appropriately and respectfully and dress appropriately, and that means no bare feet or offensive odors. Lewd, obscene, or offensive attire is grounds to be denied boarding, as well as bad hygiene. If you are offensive to passengers, that's a no-go. And it may pay to spiff up a bit before boarding. Well-dressed passengers tend to get more benefits and upgrades. So the next time you head to the airport, you may want to rethink those sweats and PJs. Tidy up. Spiff up before you step up to the gate. for a better flying experience for all.
Now, the real problem will be trying to get people to have appropriate attire on a flight. That's going to be the fight there. Well, and there are safety reasons for wearing shoes on board. In the event of an emergency, shoes can protect you from injury or harm. So there's the reason you got to wear shoes. Well, the U.S. State Department says it's continued to face a massive backlog in processing for natural hair. In Georgia, 3 cities and 2 counties have local laws banning race-based hairstyles, but there is no state law. There's also no state law in South Carolina. Passports. Well, this week our nation is recognizing National Crown Day, which is also known as Black Hair Independence Day. It celebrates the 2019 signing of the Crown Act, which bans discrimination based on how you wear your hair. Now, a Florida lawmaker is working to make the Crown Act law in the Sunshine State. Here's Deanne King.
The Crown Act is law in 23 states, but that does not include Florida. Legislators like Tampa's own Representative Ventress Driscoll have filed hair discrimination bills, but none of them have passed. State Senator Bobby Powell most recently proposed Senate Bill 590 to ban hair discrimination in Florida.
A lot of times, hair is an expression of who you are, and it seems to me that many times it's only the hair of African Americans that has offended people. So this puts in place, it would put it in the same line as discrimination against people based on gender, race, religion, who were to pass here in the state of Florida.
Senator Powell proposed his bill this year, but it died in the Judiciary Committee. He believes this kind of legislation is needed and necessary, and he says he will continue to work to get it passed.
We believe that sometimes it may take a little bit of time for the legislative body as a whole, because it's been controversial over the last few years regarding issues dealing with race and ideology. It takes a little while for us to get some understanding from some of my colleagues so that they can understand why this is important to everybody, not just Black people.
The Crown Act stands for creating a respectful and open world for natural hair. In Georgia, 3 cities and 2 counties have local laws banning race-based hairstyles, but there is no state law. There's also no state law in South Carolina.
Create your YAGS.com.
The battle over Aretha Franklin's estate continues in court next week. Franklin died from pancreatic cancer 5 years ago. Can't believe it's been that long, but despite her health problems, she never had a formal typewritten will in place. Instead, her sons are fighting over their mother's estate after 2 different handwritten documents were found in her home. One dated 2010 was found in a cabinet, and another dated 2014 was found in a notebook and some couch cushions.
And that's exactly what Aretha did, is that she sat there one day and wrote up her wishes and then dated it. It's absolutely perfectly allowed in Michigan. That's going to be the question is, did she intend that this new one cancel the old one? Because now they're both here.
Both documents indicate the sons would share income from Franklin's music and copyrights, but the older will has conditions that were not listed in the most recent one. The trial begins Monday in Detroit. We'll be right back.
Every day is a fresh. Now, your most accurate forecast with WJBF Live Viper 6.
Good Thursday afternoon. We started out the day with some fog, but we've been dry with the exception of this one shower over in parts of Jefferson County and Washington County. But as we look out towards the west of us from Athens over into the Atlanta metro, we are seeing more and more storms fire up. And a few of those will make their way into the CSRA, but it's mostly going to be our western counties dealing with some brief showers today. So here's a closer look at Washington and Jefferson County. We have some heavy downpours here and there. Lightning counter at only 2 strikes. This is from Myrtleville up to Tanner and just to the east of Sandersville. But down in Swainsboro, no rain, but they could certainly use it as it is a scorcher of a day. Here's our Terry Lambert Hyundai Skyview cam. We're at 92 in Augusta, feeling like 99 when you factor in that dew point of 71, and winds are very calm. But down in Swainsboro, 95 as well in Louisville, 94 in Sparta, 92 up in Lincolnton, 90 in Saluda, and our coolest spot right now is Edgefield, which hasn't gotten out of the upper 80s yet. The heat index is into the triple digits from McCormick down to Thompson, Louisville 106, 102 in Wrightsville and Swainsboro, but Augusta a little bit cooler, you could say, only feeling like 99. So we'll take it, not as bad as it has been the previous days. 93 in Aiken. So for satellite and radar, really not a lot of activity happening, though we do have this trough across the area, and that's what's allowing some of these storms to fire up, and that'll continue throughout the evening. But notice on the water vapor loop, we do have a batch of dry air across the CSRA, some of that pushing off towards the east with more moisture moving in, so that's why some of our western counties will get some rain tonight, with more rain on the way on Friday. We'll have a better chance of scattered showers and storms through the entire CSRA. Very humid as well, with the heat index climbing back up to 105 on Friday and Saturday. Our high temperatures will be in the mid 90s, but notice some changes on Monday. I'm going with 89 as our high temperature, feeling like 99. So definitely still humid, but we will have a lot of rain that day, which will keep us cooler. For tonight, for the Green Jackets game, we're going to be at 87 to start. Notice on satellite and radar, a few showers possibly passing by, but it definitely won't be a washout. Just a brief downpour possible, 80 degrees by the 10 o'clock hour. And for your Friday, starting out in the mid 70s, shouldn't have any fog tomorrow. A little bit of sunshine here and there, then some storms popping up in the late afternoon and evening as temperatures make it into the mid 90s. Here's that trough across the area. This will linger all the way through the start of the weekend. And we're also watching another system out towards the west, which will bring us a better chance of rain Sunday night into Monday. But in the meantime, just scattered showers and storms across the area all the way through Saturday. And for the rest of this night, as I mentioned, mostly to the west of Augusta for the rain tonight, clearing out in the overnight hours, just a mix of sun and clouds for the start of your Friday, with more storms firing up in the afternoon and evening. Here's a look at your 10-day forecast. It's going to be hot all the way through the weekend, 40% chance of rain Friday and Saturday and Sunday, 60% on Monday, cloudy and down to 89 degrees, then hot with isolated storms the rest of next week. And we'll be right back.
News Channel 6 is